That is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know how well this is going to come out on camera, but look at this. It's almost like you can put your finger underneath it. Like, this is a completely flat phone. It's not a print, it's not a sticker, I would like to believe it is properly magic, but apparently there is some science and some actually quite clever engineering behind this. They call this the 3D pop planet design, and you can see why. With this floating planet, these kind of star trails, a little bit of sparkle, all hovering above the phone. Like, this isn't some nonsense where you have to wear 3D glasses or only one person's eyes work at a time with this, like you do with some auto-stereoscopic monitors. This is just a very clever design using multiple layers to give this genuinely magical 3D effect. Like, it feels like it's coming off it by like a centimeter, and it's so wild when you touch the back of it, because then your brain is convinced, okay, that is flat. But then move your hand away, it just immediately pops out. This is actually one of the more interesting bits of engineering I've seen in a phone design recently, based on something called integral imaging. It was proposed by a physicist back in 1908, where the idea was to recreate the way our eyes see depth by capturing and reconstructing light from multiple different viewing angles, with OPPO using their Holoverse 3D technology to make this work. The easiest way to understand it is imagine the back of this phone contains millions of microscopic projectors. Okay, glasses are going on because this is science. I've borrowed my nephew's little digital microscope. Have a look at this. This is the iPhone Air, and as you can see, a very boring design there. But let's pop it onto the back of the OPPO. Look at that. These are the micro lenses, refracting the light, and then you've got a substrate layer, and then the graphic pattern on top. And you can see we've got the full light refracting on those, and this is where the graphic pattern is on top and gives us that shadow and gives us the design. This must be one of those star trails. I can follow it around. That's so cool. Individually, these tiny lenses don't show a complete image, but with every single lens projecting a slightly different piece of the planet graphic, when your eyes look at the phone, all those tiny fragments combine together to give one larger image that appears to physically float above the surface. Like, your TV obviously has light-emitting pixels, but that is a flat 2D image. The difference here is you just have millions of tiny viewpoints. That's why when you tilt the phone, the planet seems to move naturally in space rather than just simply shifting like a sticker. And have a look at this. If you shine a light onto the back panel, the shadow beneath the planet appears to move naturally. And it's this realistic shadow shift that makes the effect even more convincing. They actually use similar technology on US $100 bills, so lots of very clever science and engineering, all resulting in an image that appears to float up to 15 millimeters above the phone. I will say that this is very hard to show on a two-dimensional camera. You've got to try this for yourself, and I'll of course leave links in the description below if you do want to check this out. But also, it does vary based on the lighting. Like, if you've got a really bright light on it, it kind of flattens the effect. And if you're really off angle, then you sort of lose the effect as well. But I would say anything from, well, I'll just tell you now, anything from here, I can say it now, to here, to about here, I've got a really good depth effect. Let me back up. This is the brand new OPPO Reno 16 Pro 5G. And it's more than a pretty face, or should I say pretty backside. We've got solid specs, huge battery, some really novel camera modes, this genuinely eye-catching design, and the Reno series is their kind of OPPO premium mid-range phone with the Pro model here at the top of that. So above the A series, a little bit below the X series, like the X9 Pro, X9 Ultra. And just to give you a bit of a rundown of the rest of the phone, first of all, it is a nice compact size. It's a 6.32-inch screen, so it's roughly the same as an iPhone 17 or a Galaxy S26. Lovely rounded corners on this aluminium frame. We've got a glass back, IP66, 68, 69, and 69K. The triple camera system at the back there, 200 megapixel main, 50 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel telephoto, that's a 3.5 times optical, and a 50 megapixel selfie as well. But what I think makes this really interesting is if you open the camera app and swipe over to the pop mode, this gives you a whole bunch of different options for making your photos have a bit more of an aesthetic, a bit more of a sort of retro vibe. From an instant film, early 2000s digital camera, you've got this light leak. And just to round out the specs, we have a 144Hz AMOLED display. We've got a huge battery, silicon carbon of course, and also fast 80-watt superfast charging, although no wireless charging, which is a little bit frustrating. Also the MediaTek Dimensity 8550 Super chip, and that's alongside 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 or 512 gigs of storage. Not bad. It runs Android 16 with OPPO's terrific ColorOS 16 on top, and they promise 5 years of full OS updates. I hope I'm getting across my enthusiasm for this on camera because while it's hard to demonstrate, you could argue it's a bit of a gimmick, it doesn't fundamentally change the phone, it does make you smile, and it also definitely wows anyone that you show it to. If you do want to find out more and maybe even buy one of these for yourself, I will leave links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.